Hi, it's me, Wyatt, the boy.
And me, Clem, the lobster. This week we've got another movie episode for you. This time it's Prince Caspian, where we, lobster and boy, have watched the film and have dissected, thought, and chewed upon how it differs from the book. If you haven't seen it, now's a good time to pause and watch it, but keep in mind it is 2 hours and 22 minutes, so maybe just, buckle up.
Yes, this was the full era of every movie was 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Back in when this was 2011. When did this come out? I meant to
2008.
2008.
Yes.
2011 was a Planet of the Apes that I was just. Yeah,
Different
2008.
podcast.
Those. Oh my God, yes. I feel like every movie was 2.5 hours. Growing up, in my head, a movie is 2.5 hours, and now I feel like they're all 145. We're going back. Cinema is rolling back into long form.
I think, it depends.
Dune and shit like that. They're long. It was long.
Oh,
It
I
was
believe it.
long. I thought the movie was over 3 times.
So this week's episode, we're tucking into the movie Film for theaters, which in our world came out 3 years after the original. So it's the same actors that are repeat characters, and they honestly don't look like they're that much older, which is great.
It was pretty good. I know we talked about wanting them to cast younger people, younger actual children as the children, and I will give them their props. They managed to cast people that didn't really age that much. Susan, of course,
Susan and
she
Peter
was probably
do look older.
she looked 18,
Yeah.
but also because they were the same people and they didn't really look like they had aged that much, it was easier to just fall into it. And
Yeah, it's just like Edmund and Lucy they're perfect.
they're perfect.
And I used to think that they were all perfectly cast. Whatever. I'm not blaming the
No.
actress for aging. I'm glad she did.
Stop growing up.
Again, we're not trying to Judy Garland anybody.
No, God, no.
Absolutely not. But yeah, it was great. And I think the biggest, before we even jump into it, the number one thing that I took away from this movie is not only completely different order of the book, they also added a ton of stuff that doesn't happen. And while I was disgruntled with it in some aspects, I also thought that the entire movie was good and flowed. It's just more that they took a lot of liberties in adding in stuff to, that were they necessary? Let's find out.
Yeah, it almost feels like a different story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's okay. You know what? It's kind of feeling like people say that Narnia is a Christian allegory for the story of Jesus and all the things, but it's not a one-to-one.
No.
It's not a direct correlation.
No.
This movie is not a direct correlation of this book. It is not one-to-one. The storylines flow within each other in a very different way to come to the same conclusion. If you can't, end it differently.
Yeah.
Although they kind of did.
Yeah.
Just with one character, they gave him an ending that he did not get in the book.
Yeah.
That I remember anyway, unless I didn't read it correctly.
I feel like in terms of things they added, it didn't distract or take away from them getting to their ending. I feel like everything they added totally made sense within the story. The only big thing they took away broke my heart. But again, let's jump on in. Let's jump into those cool Narnian waters.
Yes.
And why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, the movie.
His boy.
The movie opens very theatrically. The credits fade into the sky, and we see
An eclipsed moon.
We see, not an eclipsed moon. This is Tarva and Alambil, the 2 planets that we learn about in the book. Which, maybe one of them might be the moon, or a moon, it doesn't really say.
Yeah.
It says 2 planets, but moons are, maybe back in that days it was also a planet.
But to my stupid human eye, it perceives...
It looks like a moon.
A classic quick eclipsed moon.
Quick eclipse. The movies are very good at taking those world-building details, similarly, just details in general, thinking back to, again, the first movie. We're not going to do this too much, I don't think, but with the mothballs that fall out of the wardrobe. That is just a passing line in the books. We'll come we'll come across more of them in this movie that are just kind of small passing lines, and they put them in the movie.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I feel like a lot of people who make movies keep the storyline and take a lot of choices. I mean, they also took a lot of choices, but they
Choices.
kept some really neat, lovely details like this.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about it. They just showed you the eclipse.
Yeah. But for those who are paying attention, the beginning of the film starts off where we would be in chapter 4
Chapter 4.
to then immediately cut to chapter 5.
Yes, we start
We're in the middle. We're already in the beginning
she's
of
born.
the middle of the beginning.
The middle of the beginning. Yes, we
Welcome
start
to
on the
the
night
middle.
of Miraz's son's birth.
He doesn't ever get a name. We should
No.
name him.
It's probably like Charles or something.
I mean, I was thinking like Skippy, so
Yeah,
we'll be in the middle at some point.
Well, I mean, it's got to be something. His wife's name's Pruna Prismia.
That's for sure. Her name is also never said.
I think it is, maybe once. I think it's said once. We also meet Glozell right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know it's him, but he's
Right.
yeah. But Murad, or this dude, yeah. In my notes, I was like writing the names, but basically, this one dude who turns to another dude and says, "You know your orders."
Yeah, super, super sus.
Yeah, and then a cloaked figure who's giving somewhere between like the Ghost of Christmas present and Hagrid, like who I'm assuming is Dr. Cornelius, goes and wakes up, a boy.
Yeah.
Or wakes up a young man who tells him that his aunt has given birth to his son. Spoiler, this might be Prince Caspian.
And he understands what it means.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
in the book, he takes ages for him to understand that his life is in danger.
Oh, yeah.
In this moment, he takes 2 seconds and they run away.
Yeah.
Boom.
He knows. Also, this actor looks like he's 17 or like 20 maybe.
Yeah,
Like, he
Ben
does not
Barnes.
look young.
No.
He's very handsome, whatever.
Oh,
but,
he's
like,
very handsome. This is also a big fan cast of Sirius Black. Just like
a young...
yeah, like a young Sirius
yeah.
Black.
I could see that.
And it was an interesting choice to make them like Spaniards.
Yeah, I was like, why does
Like it's I
It's
thought they
giving
were
the-
pirates, but it's giving Spanish Inquisition.
No, yeah, but it's also giving like the French peas from VeggieTales, where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so like you've got these bad conquistador invaders that are invading and like where the white people have been. Come on.
And I looked it up, and it said that Spain and the Spaniards were mostly fighting against pirates. They
Yeah.
had like their ships. They called them galleons. These ships that were full of gold and things, and they were getting their stuff stolen. So
They should have been Irish sounding.
that's what online was saying, is that the pirates were more likely Irish or Dutch. But yeah, and Ben Barnes, Prince Caspian, he says 5 more minutes when he gets woken up.
Mm-hmm.
But the eclipse already happened.
I think
So-
yes, because I remember seeing that and I thought maybe just because he thinks he's just being
Yeah,
woken
he's just
up for
being
a day.
woken up.
'Cause
Okay,
in
that
this-
makes more sense.
yeah.
It was a cute little moment. 5 more minutes, and
Right.
we as the watcher are like, "No, get up! Like
Good-
you're in danger."
Yeah, a girl, you're a danger girl. And then, of course, he does escape. But in that time, the soldier who was given the orders by Beard Dude and a bunch of other guys surround the bed that he had been in, like with crossbows, and just like launch.
And he watches it. Caspian sees it from inside the wardrobe,
That's right. Yeah, another wardrobe moment where I'm like,
and he has a falcon. That never gets brought up. Like he had a little falcon up on the bed thing. Could have been great to send messages back and forth in the future if you ever
Would've
needed to
been
send a
helpful.
freaking message.
and I mean, he's told everything you know is about to change. And like the drama of him riding away from the castle with the fireworks that are going off, which is obviously to celebrate his cousin being born, obviously. And he's being chased by soldiers.
Which didn't happen.
No, and like
And
no one knew he had left.
Yeah, they see him and they're halt. Why would he's the prince? It doesn't fucking matter where he's going at this point.
Yeah, well, like, and then they all get to the edge of the forest, which he goes into, and then like, what is it, gazelles? Like he threatens
Yeah.
all of them, like jail, and so they follow him, and like they lose him in like some watery area. But I'm like, none of that ever happened. They didn't know he left. Nobody followed him.
Yes,
And no one knew.
They love to add the extra tension. These movies, they added it in the first one with the wolf. They're adding it now, and I kind of liked it in a way, just because I did feel like the horse getting spooked by thunder, like, this is the prince's horse. It's not a war horse necessarily, but
Well, before that, like
basically.
they it seems like he escapes because he goes through the water. Also, shout out to all the horses in this film. I feel like the horses were the heroes
Yes,
of
the
this.
horses were 100%. But it is giving Lord of the Rings river when they cross, and
Especially
like,
because a lot of this was filmed in New Zealand,
that's
like,
maybe why.
which we did the research.
Yeah. And
But
it's a long chase.
yeah, but then it seems like they, the Telemarines don't follow him, and then yeah, like you were saying, like he gets knocked off he gets knocked off, but his foot's attached to the reins or
Yeah,
something,
and he
and then he
doesn't
gets
get knocked
dragged.
unconscious.
Yeah, he's
And
fine. He's just getting dragged, and then I think like his foot comes loose, but then dun dun dun.
yeah, he ends up at this big tree, and then these two dwarves come out, and they're about to kill him or do something, and
Fully conscious.
he's fully conscious for all this. Trumpkin sees Susan's horn and then hesitates, which I kind of thought was weird because in the book they paint him as like a non-believer, so but also he knows about it, so maybe it was just a general shock, not like a you have this religious artifact of my people, but more just like what?
Maybe he's like, oh, look at that cool thing, but the way that is that Peter Dinklage?
Yeah,
Peter
it is Peter
Dinklage.
Dinklage.
Who's
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage plays Trumpkin, and Warwick Davis plays Nickabrick.
Which like just his voice.
You could
is,
hear,
yeah.
yeah. As soon as he started talking, I was like, yes, I love Warwick. He's fucking everywhere.
It's so good. But yeah, then Prince then all of a sudden the Telemarines, even though they seem to have disappeared into the water
A while ago.
yeah, they appear in the woods. So I'm like, okay, none of this happens. And I think what's even weirder is what happens next is so counterintuitive to the entire plot, and yet somehow it doesn't derail it. But
Yeah, well,
Prince Caspian,
Trumpkin goes to stop the Telmarines. He tells Nickabrick to deal with Caspian, and he's coming at Caspian. Caspian panics, and he blows the horn.
madness.
It's night one. It hasn't even. The morning hasn't even. What? He does. This doesn't happen for weeks.
I know.
It's not supposed to happen for weeks.
They've also escalated everything and smushed it into one. So like in this circumstance, it would be stupid for him to like look at it, like do a bunch of edits, and then for him not to do it. And also, it does explain what happens next, because there really isn't an explanation in the book for how we even get to Narnia as readers. Yet in the movie, they're like, okay, cool. Well, people aren't going to believe that if they, if they don't have a wardrobe to go through, if there isn't, like a hole in the ground or whatever, like how they, so he blows the horn.
I just had the realization that I think probably kind of what you're getting at is
I never got at anything, but please go on.
I guess it's because of where we then jump to, which is Lucy in her school outfit, and you see someone from the first movie. I think that if we had started there and just appeared randomly in Narnia as we do in the book, and you have to learn all of those things until we get to the point where Caspian blows the horn in the book, which isn't until like chapter 8 or 9 or 8.
It would take too long.
Yeah, and it wouldn't flow, and so they had to change that, and because of that choice, it had a butterfly effect.
I also feel like they could have shown what actually happened when he genuinely blew the horn, and because they're, that horn does, spoiler, call them to Narnia in the book for those who haven't listened to our book podcast.
Right.
And like it would have had whatever. The point is, it flows in the movie. It's good, and I like that they have the blowing of the horn transitioned into like a car horn honking, and like 19 what, like again, the war's over, I guess. So it's like 1948, 1940.
The war's not over.
Oh, okay.
It's only been 1 year. I looked this up because there's propaganda posters like "Do your duty." When they go down into the subway. Oh, this is a little bit later, but when they go down the subway station, there's a shot of a lion statue, and it's being covered up by sandbags by soldiers, and there's also the entrance to the subway station is mostly covered up by sandbags. Like, if they needed to quickly turn it into a bunker or a shelter, they could, because it's only 1941.
Oh, 40. Okay.
1 year after the Blitz, but there's still 4 more years of World War II. I was like, the war's over. Why? What? And then I was like, wait, it's only been a year.
Yeah, no happy Christmas for us yet.
And I didn't know when the Blitz happened. so I had to look it up.
Also, this is my problem with movies, is that when I'm trying to actually really pay attention, I have to pause it so much that I totally ignored stuff like that and was really just focusing on I was just so confused by everything that had
Taken
just
aback
happened.
by
Yeah,
the differences of the plot and everything. Yeah.
because I had started to kind of watch it before I had really finished rereading Prince Caspian. I know, but I didn't make it much farther than like the next couple scenes because I realized the error of my ways and I wanted to read the book. So don't worry, Puritans, purists, people who love pure hand sanitizer. I definitely made a point to stop. So anyway, so yeah, we've got a cute little weird situation where we see Susan flirted with by a boy, which I think is to kind of like show like her blossoming maturity.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's some ding dong boy who's trying to flirt with her, and he's given her all the energy that Dean gave Rory in their like first moment together in Gilmore Girls, except in this case, Susan isn't interested and gives him a fake name.
It's so good because the movies do add a lot of drama. They also add a lot of comedy and light moments,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is more because it is just more modern
Yeah.
and the relationships between the siblings are more modern, and
Yeah.
so they're able to play a little bit more with that. Because, yeah, she gives him the name Phyllis. Literally half a second later, you hear Lucy go,
Yeah.
Susan! As she runs up.
Damn it, Lou.
Oh, so good.
But it's good because she needs to bring Lucin.
That's the second time he'd done it.
God damn it, Lucin. Yeah, so anyway, they go down the stairs of the tube past the lion figure, and we see Peter kind of getting the beans beat out of him, but
Subway brawl.
yeah, a tube brawl. Excuse you.
Down in the tube.
It's a tube slapping.
Just tube brawl.
Sorry, everyone. But Ed's fighting with him too, and it's like, but it seems that Ed is fighting on behalf of Peter, which is a nice character change. And it gets broken up by some like not really cop soldiery kind of looking dudes, and the guy says "act your rage"
Yeah.
to Peter.
Rage.
I'm like, fuck that guy because they are children's.
14.
They
They
are
are acting their
children's.
age.
And like also Peter started the fight, but it's because people were probably it sounds like he was being bullied.
He said that they bumped into him, and then they wanted him to apologize for being in the way. And he wouldn't. And he's like, I don't like being treated like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Edmund's like, well, you are a kid. He's like, I wasn't always a kid. I was the king of... Like, okay, well, you're not in Narnia, Peter. Calm the fuck down.
But what a mind... It's like those children who
Yeah.
can remember all their past lives, except they seem to have like a wisdom about it where it doesn't fuck with them. But like...
It is interesting. They remember it a lot more than I feel like they remember it in the books. In the books, I feel like it's more of a... You're reminiscing about your elementary school days while you're a senior in college.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was only a year ago for them. But in this,
1,300 years.
it's like it was last summer, it was last year, and it feels like last year.
Yeah.
I did notice this little detail. I don't know if this was the detail I think I was noticing, but some of these kids have like tags on their bags or on their shoulders or their clothes. Maybe not on their clothes. It looked like it was only on their bags or shoulders.
Like Paddington Bear.
And so yeah, thinking about it now, I think it's more of just a name tag for their stuff. But this came off of my historical research, finding out that it was still wartime, and I was wondering if some of these kids were displaced and they had their tags because of that reason. But I only have notes that they're on their shoulders, and thinking back, I think they only were on their bags. So it was probably just a paper name tag for their bags so that they didn't get lost on the train when they were going to school. Because they've got to get on a train, like, to go to the boarding school, and so you're taking your stuff and putting it somewhere collective.
I just don't feel like because maybe it's the Hogwarts conditioning, which that is an excellent band name. Hey everybody, we're Hogwarts conditioning. It seems like they wouldn't go to school in their outfits. Like you would just wear your clothes going to boarding school
And then get changed there or shortly before.
Yeah, because like what everyone else is doing is going to school for the day, which is what I'm thinking is is more likely they're trying. I don't know. Like I know that's not the way that school was or the world works, especially if it's a year later. I don't know if it was safe in London. Call in if you know what was going on in London a year after the Blitz. But that was it. But it doesn't really matter because they're not going to school because all of a sudden a weird train starts blasting through.
Yeah, and Lucy screams, ouch.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
gets pinched.
ouch! Loud as fuck. She stands up. And then she goes, oh, it feels like magic. Girl, I guess they were in Narnia and probably felt magic
And
in
she
the air.
remembers more because she's younger, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And, like, yeah, and it's giving, like, yeah, the train station, it's, like, papers
Yeah.
pulled off the wall.
Rumbling. There's like an earthquake.
Yeah.
Sue wants them to all hold hands, which I love.
It's very cute.
Also, yeah, and they have already hinted at it that Susan didn't really believe that they were going to go back because she says something to Peter because he's all, well, I was a king. And she goes, I think we all should get used to the idea of us being here. Like, she doesn't think that they're going to go back. And so part of me feels like there's a fear in her when she asks to hold hands because she knows Lucy's probably going.
Yeah.
If someone's going, it's going to be Lucy. And so she wants to go.
Yeah.
And so she would have gone anyway. I think that they were all meant to go, especially because it was her horn that called them.
Right.
But it was just like a little moment that I don't remember if she asks them to hold hands in the book, but it put this kind of fear into her character that I really liked. They do develop the characters with these one lines and different little bits and pieces that I do really like, even if they do differ from the page. It makes them more real and, like I said, a little more modern.
Yeah. So eventually the train passing, all of a sudden, like, sorry, editing Wyatt, I'll stop not talking into the mic. It turns into a beach. The train station disappears and the train goes off into nothing. And, you know, they're on a beautiful beach, which when I saw it reminded me of the beaches of Australia, but it's New Zealand, which, although they are completely different countries and do have totally different terrains overall, have similar beaches in some aspects. So, you know.
Same ocean, right? Well, depends on what side of Australia.
Which side? Yeah, and they, you know, they're kids on the beach. It's gorgeous. So they start running around.
I love
Splishy
this.
splash, happy time. And the one thing I really do enjoy about the movie version of the story is that they don't waste time with them, like, trying to figure out what's going on, like, immediately, like, they're doing stuff. So
Yeah, they know they're in Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
Edmund sees the ruins and goes, "Where are we?" And
We
they're
do
like,
see one apple tree behind him, and honestly, the
I
only
didn't
time
see the apple tree.
I did.
Oh, see, that's
I
the details that are in the
did.
book. That
Because, well, the ruins are so pretty. Like, when they
So
first
pretty.
get there, and, like, yeah, and it just was, it was super gorgeous. But I wish that I was there in the sunshine, barefoot, eating apples.
so good. I have a note about some other detail. They have a single seagull on the beach because I was kind of paying attention, and it is very quiet when they get there. There's not really a lot of bird song. There's some slight bird song when they're exploring the ruins, but it definitely almost feels like it was maybe in the music track more so than they put
Maybe.
in bird song.
Yeah, and they don't know where they are either. And Ed also, he specifically says, like, he doesn't remember there
ruins
being ruins.
being-
So
being
maybe
in
there
it.
weren't ever birds here.
Or in ruins in
Ruins.
ruins in Narnia.
Oh, yeah, ruins.
Ruins. There's no ruins in Narnia.
No, because it was such a young place when they got there.
By that point, it was only 1,000 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like this whole, it's visually spectacular, and like
Glorious.
and it takes like all but 2 seconds for Sue to find a golden chess piece, which in this version was Edmund's chess
Boo!
piece, not Lucy's. But then Lou is able to set the scene for her siblings, and she shows them there at Cara Paraval, and like none of the walking around, none of the nonsense, none of the gaslighting, and this aspect or Pete explaining why they're there. Like they just
Yeah,
they
I like that instead of it being Peter's revelation, they do give it to Susan and Lucy. But I hate that they give Edmund the chess piece.
Yeah.
But this whole movie is really upping Edmund a lot more than the book. They're giving him, which a lot of it I really enjoy. This is just I think the only detail that I don't like, because they're making him out to be a very, not manipulative, but a very strategic, like the right hand strategist of the High King.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was his role when he was an adult.
Yeah.
But we never really saw it, and I I like the fact that it was Lucy who was playing chess all those years.
I
It
think
makes more sense that Edmund, I put air quotes because misogyny, it makes more sense that Edmund would be the one playing chess.
I mean, I guess they probably all play chess with each other. But it also seems like maybe they wrote Edmund's character this way because, like, just literally thinking about this child actor having to play like that type of role. Because, like, pause, yeah. Microphone adjustment, adjusting the mic, adjusting the mic, adjusting the microphone.
All right.
Like, you know, when you're playing a role that's a bad guy, like it has to be fun or silly in some way because I think it can kind of weigh on you. So maybe that's what it was, like just letting this kid have a better character arc. But like, you know, so we get to that, and then it cuts back to horses and Miraz, who is holding his infant son, and you know, then Giselle tells him that you know they didn't kill Prince Caspian.
They come back with Destrier. They come back with the horse.
And then they have a council meeting about it. And
Oh, because there's something on the horse.
And this is the point where I was like, okay, none of this happened.
Oh, I kind of loved it though.
I mean, yeah.
But
again,
but it completely changed plot lines.
I wrote that none of this happened, but I feel like the screenwriters knew that his storyline of CSLs was bonkers, and so kind of like keeping the audience's attention was more important than explaining all the walking.
Right.
This whole meeting is basically like Miraz is just like, okay, so we're going to convince everybody that Caspian was abducted.
And before he even comes in, though, they're all shit-talking him. All of the advisors are shit-talking Miraz. The, quote, Lord Protector, they're saying, but you can't accuse him without hard evidence. Because they're like, it's really sus, and they confront him a little bit later. But they're all kind of, not conspiring, but they are already untrustworthy of him. They go, oh, well, then when can we bring it up? When the council hall is empty? Like, they're already calling out the fact that people are missing or dead or...
Yeah, like they're
like,
aware.
But I loved the addition of the distrust from his advisors.
I think, again, like, yeah, because it isn't... I don't know. Like it's explained and it's also insinuated, but they do a better job of explaining why these dudes don't trust him, how they came to not trust him. Because in the book, it just seems like all, you know, they kind of just like,
they're just distrustful people, but this gives them real reason and real gives them some skin in the game. I don't know, but like it puts them in the situation. It reminds me of the way that I felt that Prince Caspian's Narnian team was stronger only because we got to meet more of them.
Yeah.
I think that this is along that same thought process where you can understand their motives because you've seen them say their motives instead of just making a choice at the end of the story.
Yeah, like, and why should they care? But I mean, it's painting that image that no one is really on his side other than the fact that the people, everyone below this council of people is on this dude's side. And so they don't really have a choice except to go along with this, you know, Prince Caspian's been abducted. We need to go get him. And they have also, in this process, you know, of capturing him, we realize that Trumpkin was abducted.
Right.
We don't know that it's him at this point, but basically, like, you know, it's kind of, we those who've read the book know who it is.
Yeah, you know it's Trumpkin, but we know that we saw this dwarf. He went to go confront the Telmarines. And now we see him again back at the castle, which...
So probably, you know, he got caught in that kerfuffle.
Which is so, I mean, again, a total difference.
Yeah. But this whole thing is like, it just gives me like dictator fear-mongering, creating just like chaos for the sake of, you know, rage in your favor by talking about this dwarf. And it just, I mean, yeah, and then Miraz hits him in the face for no reason. And it was in this scene that although it would completely break up the seriousness of what was happening, I honestly think that Adam Sandler would have done a great job of playing the character Miraz.
Oh my goodness.
It would be silly.
It would be.
But it would be great. But now we're going to do one of a million cutbacks, flashbacks.
Not flashback in time, but flashback to the other story we were just at.
To the kids who have found a door in the ruins that they've been looking at, and Ed whips out a fancy torch or,
Well,
flashlight.
after
Yeah,
he
after.
after he waits for Peter to rip his shirt to make that shoddy little torch, he's like, "Does anyone have any matches?" He's like,
Right.
"No, but I've got this." He's also like very giving history buff. They were walking around. He sees this stone, like this kind of rounded stone on the ground, and he goes, "This was attacked. Like Caraparavelle was attacked. Like this is from a cat." He goes, "Catapults." I'm like, what? See, again, this is all that chess. He's like, maybe started looking into history stuff when he went back to the real world. I would believe it.
I mean, also maybe they're trying to flesh out the character, like just to give them more, so it's not just about Peter and Susan mostly,
Yeah.
or Lucy. Not that we don't love that, but like instead of taking ages to get to this point, they find
Right. It's midday and they're going down to the treasure room
Yeah.
instead of midnight.
which honestly like is great because they each have a trunk and it has their or like a chest, like a
Yeah,
stone
like a
chest,
big,
and it has all
beautiful
their
chest.
stuff.
And there's a statue of them behind it as adults, which would probably be so weird to stand in front of.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah, Pete pulls out his sword and he says this lovely quote. Do you want me to read it or do you want to read
Yeah,
it?
I don't have it. I just have that Peter's a loser because he bows to himself. He like bows to the statue. Well,
Well, and yeah, and Peter says, "When Aslan bares his teeth, winter meets its death." To which Lucy replies, "When he shakes his mane, we shall have spring again." And then Lucy has this very sad revelation that everyone that they knew back in their first trip to Narnia has long since moved on.
and I started crying. Tears, real tears. I mean, she just, this actress pulls the tears out of me so easily. Like, she didn't even start crying yet. You could see that she was going to cry. And you can, like, she lists off some people, but even, like, after the list, you can see it in her eyes. All of these people. I'm like, this girl's really, she is acting. Like, it was intense. I could cry thinking about it right now. I mean, I did watch the movie today, so it's fresh. But it was incredible
But
and very sad.
Well, the directors know that you're overwhelmed, so then they cut to two soldiers in a boat with a dwarf, which is closer to the original story plot, but this is still inaccurate. And then somehow the kids are on the beach in their Narnian garb that they had when they were kids versus the one.
It's not the same garb.
Is it different?
I looked it up.
Okay.
I have a little note shortly later, but
Well, but somehow it still fits them, even though they are not adults now. But Susan already has her bow drawn. She says, "Drop him," which is not what happens. She doesn't shoot. And
she gives a warning shot into the side of the boat.
Oh,
Says,
okay.
"Drop him."
I didn't see the
And
first
they
shot
do.
because I got distracted by crows and crockery.
Yeah, crows and crockery.
But then they just drop him in the water, and then like they, and they dip out in the water and bravely ran away.
She kills him. She
does?
kills the other. So she says, "Drop him," and then she shoots the other guy. It goes right into his heart, and he falls into the water. And the other guy runs away.
So clearly, this Susan doesn't mind.
This
slaying
Susan
a
doesn't
bitch.
give a shit. She's like, "I told you to drop him. I didn't tell you to drown him. You stupid bitch. I'm killing you now."
Yeah, and then I guess like our dwarf friend doesn't know how to swim because like his hands are tied, sure, but his legs are unrestrained. Thankfully, Peter knows how to swim though.
There are also a lot of mythos and different fantasy realms. Sorry, we're drinking a bubbly beer and it's making me burpy. But there are a lot of fantasy series that have dwarves be literally denser than humans. So
Or maybe they don't swim.
yeah, he might not be able to swim because his
Culturally.
body is literally too heavy.
Oh, like a pit bull.
Yeah.
Oh. That's fair. Okay. Well, I'm even so, but disposed.
But yeah,
Peter gets in, saves him, and then he's a turd, and he's mad that they saved him. He's like, "Oh, it would have been better just drown." And it's like, SDFU, Peter, we saved you.
yeah.
And then, my favorite quote, "Where have you been for the last few hundred years?" He's annoyed that they're the kings and queens, and Pete gets roasted, and then they have their little, like, ego battling duel.
All right, I have my note about their royal garb. I said I like that they changed it. It would make sense that they wanted to change because this is the same day.
This is the same day. This is the same day.
So they were just on the beach in the ocean wearing wool pants. So I'm sure that that shit's heavy. The sand, I know that that sand chafing is insane
That's
on those
actually a
pants.
good point to pause and thank our sponsors today. This episode is sponsored by Wet Wool and Sand Chafing. If you're at the beach in your winter garb, you made a mistake.
But I'm sure it totally helped them look like Narnian ghosts. Them standing on the beach
Oh.
looking like the kings and
Yeah.
queens of old. Like, what the fuck?
Beards and
And I looked it up.
bedsteads.
This was one of my Google holes that I fell down of to see if they're wearing the same clothes at any point. Because initially Lucy holds up a dress and she goes, I was so tall back then. And
We were
Susan goes, you
adults.
were older back then.
Remember
And
when I was older?
I couldn't, yeah. And Edmund goes, as to now, hundreds of years later when we're younger. Like that, just. But anyway, I couldn't find any exact matches to their costumes, but they do look quite similar to their adult form outfits that we see them leave Narnia in. Although Peter's is a little bit of a mix because his adult outfit is almost wholly maroons and reds and browns, versus in this it's brown and he's got a light flowy blue undershirt. But he wears almost that same exact shirt when he gets crowned king. And he wears that light blue semi often in the first one. Edmund, he's in a blue velvet top with brown pants. When he leaves Narnia, he's wearing a blue velvet top, brown pants. Susan is in like a purpley kind of red dress, which she's also in when they leave Narnia, although
Okay.
it's much more purpley. And they're different dresses, they're different outfits, but the coloring is kind of similar. And Lucy is in a dress with white accents. Hers now is more on the breast. It's almost like a milkmaid dress versus when it was not High Queen, but Queen Susan. It was,
Casual.
yeah, it was red and it had some white kind of like across the front. And it was, these were, much more casual versions, but I did love that there was some consistency here, albeit small. And I don't know whether it was intentional by the costumers just because of the visualization of choosing a character's color palette, or if it was something a little bit more fun and detailed, like maybe Susan really likes purple and Edmund's favorite color is blue, or
Purple is a royal color.
it
So.
is a royal color. I just thought it could be something fun, but they don't really match, but they kind of match.
It's good
Close
enough.
enough. But I was going through Google Images like back and forth trying to see if there was any clothes that were the same for like 20 minutes.
But yeah, maybe that horn worked after all. So all of that, not all of that, like what you said, but everything that's just happened leads him to realizing that maybe the horn did work.
And then they fight, Ed and him like regular, and Ed beats him pretty quick. And then he just accepts it, which I liked because, again, we don't have time for all this bullshit. That's what you said in the other book. You're like, this is taking too goddamn long. They're wasting so much time. They got called here for a reason. Let's fucking get there.
Right?
In this, they're getting there.
Oh yeah.
But the stakes are so much higher,
Oh
it
yeah.
seems.
Well, probably why there's so many cuts, because at that point it then cuts back to Prince Caspian, who, even though he wasn't knocked out, really, he's waking up in a bed and hearing a conversation being had by a dwarf and a badger, who are Nickabrick and Truffle Hunter, talking about Trumpkin. And yeah, this is also where I was like, why does he have like a Spanish accent? Like, what is that? Like, it's definitely like, it's giving like it's not like Ibiza, but it's giving Spanish. And
Yes.
like, and anyway, so he's just like, yeah, I was going to be killed by my uncle. And then Nickabrick, I don't know, I feel like this all proceeds pretty quickly, and like Truffle Hunter is like,
They're pretty quick to jump on his
Yeah,
side.
and
Even Nickabrick, which he was not quick to jump on Caspian's side before.
no. And Truffle Hunter is like constantly like the sweet, like I don't know, like just nice dude.
Yeah,
And, like,
he says it, like beasts never forget and stuff like that.
I also just love when he asks Caspian if he knows what this is, and then he's holding Susan's horn in his
Yeah,
sweet little
in his
badger
little
hands.
paw. I noticed the little paws too. They're
so
so
cute.
cute.
And then we get another fucking cut.
And it's Cornelius hanging around the castle. Like,
Oh yeah.
wouldn't you want to fucking get out of Dodge.
Yeah, and Mraz is giving him a whole speech, and he shoves an arrow through a picture book of the kids
That's
as kings and
that's
queens.
what because he says, "Oh, I hope you find Caspian," and he says, "I did find something. I found my man or whatever, like one of my men," and he stabs the arrow in, and that's when I was like, "Damn, she really did fucking kill that dude."
Oh yeah.
That's crazy, Susan.
See, and that's why I was confused because I assumed it was in this the one that was in the side of the boat.
Maybe it was. Maybe he found, but then he would have had to go back to get no, because they took the boat. The kids took the boat.
You are right. Continuity. And this is the whole thing where, like, this whole speech, he gives Mraz just little enough information that he probably wouldn't have needed to get in trouble for everything that happened until the very end. Because, yeah, Mraz is like, what does he know about Narnia? And, his whole thing is like, well, all of this is banned to talk. You're not
Right.
supposed to talk
You told
about
me
this.
I can't talk about it.
He's like, but if he did know about it, you should, you would, there's a good
Yeah.
reason for you to be nervous. And it's like, shut your mouth.
Yeah, why are you threatening the king,
Like,
dude?
your Uncle Max on stage glaring at the Nazis, realizing that the Von Trapp family is gone. Like, oh my, act like you don't know what's going on, Dr.
Yes,
Cornelius.
come the fuck on.
And then he gets taken away by 2 guards. And then it cuts to, and I'm so glad, I literally rewound it like 15 times to get the pronunciation. Caspian. Caspian.
This scene stuck with me from the first time I watched this movie until now, and only now, after right off the back of reading the book, did I really understand it. And my boyfriend was watching it with me, and he was like, I always thought this guy was like a good guy because he kind of tells Glazelle, he's like, oh, Mraz's own family and stuff doesn't seem to be safe from his, fear, basically. And he goes something about be careful who you choose your friends or something along that line. And he was just in the room when Mraz was threatening Cornelius, and so it kind of almost feels like maybe he's on the good side, but he's really just not on Mraz's side is what it is.
I did put the growth in so Caspian appears to be more morally based versus like ego based, which is more like, was it Gazelle?
Glazelle, yeah.
Gazelle, yeah. Like his seems to be more like for his own purpose, but I agree. Like the way the actor has his face, the way that it seems like maybe he's like a guy who's like part of the bad guys, but then is really good the whole time.
Yeah, it feels like a Snape kind of
little snip.
potential, and it doesn't really turn out to be that way.
No,
but it definitely messed with me consistently every time I used to watch the movie, where I was like, oh, he's gonna be a good guy.
And then, of course, cuts back to the kids.
There's like the weirdest scene, which I think is supposed to. In the book, they have all the confusion, and there's the walking, and then they get shot at, and then you never find out who was shooting at them, and whatever. Instead of that, they go to the Fords of Baruna, and they're building the bridge. They're like kind of looking, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't go this way because it's crawling with Telmarines building the bridge, which I was pretty sure was already built, but
it was definitely built.
I thought it had been built like hundreds of years ago because it. Well, I guess that doesn't go to that. But there's like a town there. They say that there's a town there, and that's because we meet that girl and the teacher.
None of that happens.
Nope.
No, there's no, yeah. Everything is completely different. I'm going to crack this.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, everything is totally different. The bridge hasn't been built. There's no town. There are a ton of people working on it who seem to maybe not be of like the same sort of like soldier caliber. Like maybe they are just
they're
workers.
Telmarine workers, not
Yeah.
Telmarine soldiers. And they turn around, and so then they start riding up the river, the Glasbend River or whatever. And
Glass Creek something.
yeah, something like that. It doesn't really matter. But Trumpkin says, it wasn't long after you left the Telmarines invaded. Which is not true, Trumpkin. The Pevensies disappeared in the year 1015, and Telmar didn't invade Narnia until 1998. Narnian year 1998.
Well, the
And
dwarves weren't renowned for their memory.
Yeah, it's maybe not long for Narnia time, but 900 years was the same time that like the same length that the White Witch ruled over Narnia.
Yeah, no, he basically blames the fall of Narnia on them and then has the audacity to talk smack on Aslan.
Yeah, he's like, well, he disappeared when you disappeared.
Yeah,
He left us.
Yeah, he abandoned them. He abandoned us, which like you cut, and then Lucy
Like, this
is
is your
obviously sad about like that breaks her heart.
Yeah, because she started like there's a little banter between her and Trumpkin, like, but no, guess not. But
Well, and like he doesn't know that they didn't choose to leave Narnia. He just
Peter does say it.
I guess in this, well, I mean, obviously
Right,
based on
right
everything.
then. But
Well,
Peter says it shortly in that same conversation. He goes, we didn't want to leave, and Trumpkin goes, well, I guess it doesn't really matter much at this point, or whatever. Like, what good does it do now?
Well, I was gonna say like just how he like is just kind of like ungrateful and doesn't like
in that moment.
In general, at the beginning, especially like how he's like, oh, like it would have been better to have drowned than to like have been rescued and have and to be in water for like a minute versus drowning to death, like whatever. Just it seems like he's in a mood.
He really is.
He's really in a mood.
Maybe he doesn't like getting wet.
And to be fair, when he meets them in the book, it's less hopeless as it probably feels right now. So
Yeah, right, because they kind of appear out of nowhere in a way, versus they planned on them coming back in the book. They hoped on them coming back. It was a secret, but he knew about it. And then they skip a good amount of walking. They do show some walking later on and now and stuff,
but mostly I mean, they skip a lot of like the rowing and the fishing and the blah 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 and like just let them dock
on some gravel
or like anchor their boat where
which is neat. The way it was just like the regular. I've never seen that personally, of like someone using a regular anchor on a small boat and tossing that up onto shore, which I'm sure is how you do it. But
you just need a friend with a boat. So
yeah,
if you
I
have
always
a
tie
boat,
up the front of the boat to whatever. But
Yeah.
it makes sense if you have an anchor. Let me know if you've got an anchor and a boat that has an anchor attached to it.
yeah, ideally both, if not
Yes.
connected. But they end up seeing a bear, which to the audience, like we've seen Narnian bears. We also just saw this badger who is not necessarily humanistic, but has more human characteristics. Whereas like this bear looks like a real bear.
It almost kind of looks dirty. I think that's the thing. All the Narnian animals are very clean.
Or care more about their appearance.
Right, as we hear in
Out of
Lion, the Witch,
respect
and the
of bears.
Wardrobe, Mrs. Beaver, when they go to meet Aslan, she goes, my fur, I didn't have time to clean myself. Shout out to Mrs. Beaver. R.I.P. R.I. fucking B.
She probably lived a lovely long beaver life.
With her new
But
sewing machine.
like of course the kids don't realize like danger, and Trumpkin is realizes that this is a dangerous bear, this isn't a friend bear, and he ends up killing it because Susan
has this in the
This time
books.
she
It's pretty
hesitates.
quick. She hesitates. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know what you mean now. This goes so much longer. In the book, it's kind of quick, and she hesitates, but it's almost understandable. They're in the forest. There's brush. There's things kind of in her visual field.
whereas this is an open
There was
rock.
no reason for her to hesitate here. She says, stop. Like, it doesn't stop. It does not. Come on, Susan. But Trumpkin saves the day, and
And then
Susan is shook.
And then Lucy goes to Peter for comfort, and he gives her a cuddle. And like, there's a shot where you see Edmund and Susan on the side of the two of them, and it's just very sweet. It's that thing where it isn't spoken. It isn't like, oh, I need Peter to help me. She just goes to him, and he just puts his arm around her, and it's very lovely.
I love Peter, and I mean, Lucy's my favorite, and so I love every moment that is sweet between her and all of her siblings, because constantly, as we've discussed, they gaslight the fuck out of her.
Which and
they don't really do that
and
here.
even when they kind of ask her questions later on, it is very sweet.
Don't believe her. Yeah, they don't believe her.
Their tones are the difference.
It's not as heartbreaking. It's not as heartless. And I think again, it's just that's how the kids of this age would do it.
Yeah.
But maybe not back then.
Also, like, let's just fucking change the way that people speak, so we're not having to say, oh, that's the way it used to be. Like, whatever. There are plenty of examples of how it used to be. Let's show how it should be. So anyway, one more time, I'm gonna just kidding. We're gonna swap around a whole bunch, but we're back to the woods, and we've got Caspian, who's being followed
I got a question. They don't talk about the meat pockets. There's no meat pockets. Hello?
Oh.
What are they eating? They didn't eat apples.
Yeah.
They don't
No.
eat any apples. They
Uh,
don't eat any bear meat.
no. They don't eat anything in
They
this
don't eat
movie.
anything.
And honestly, from an actor's perspective, which I can't really have because I've never been an actor, but as someone who's listened to actors talking about acting, eating is the worst because of all the takes and the things. So it's probably better if they don't have to like
Yeah.
consume anything.
Trumpkin does like stab the bear. Like maybe he was cutting it up, but
Yeah.
maybe he was just making sure it was dead. I don't know.
Also, it's probably a lot easier to not have to explain bear meat rotting in your pockets. Leaf wrapped
Probably.
bear meat rotting in your
Leaf-wrapped
pockets.
bear meat.
Leaf wrapped bear meat rotting in your pockets. Leaf wrapped bear meat.
Running in your
I
pockets.
lost it the third time.
And then we cut back, right? I don't have any more notes about them. I think
Oh,
after
yeah.
the bear meat,
Yes.
we cut back again.
Yeah, Caspian in the woods, being followed by Nick Brick and Truffle Hunter.
And he's the one who he wants to go explain things to all the other creatures, and he thinks that he can just fucking do this. What?
The audacity.
Literally the audacity.
Caspian asks Nickabrick and Truffle Hunter about Aslan, and the pair is confused as to why this Telmarine knows so much about Narnia and the lore. And then Truffle Hunter smells humans, because again, doesn't happen.
Yeah, these Telmarines just fucking popping up out of nowhere. I was
Yeah.
like, what? I literally have a note. What the hell is happening?
Yeah, and it's at this point I've shortened them to Gauze and Sop, and like so Gauze is like leading this group, and they're like coming for them, and so they all start running, and then Truffle Hunter gets hit by an
It's a hit.
arrow.
Why did you have to add an animal getting hurt? Why
Especially,
does
like,
that have to be part of a plot line?
Our favorite soft boy, and then Caspian goes to save him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, leave me. And the best part is, like, you can tell at no point was Caspian really ever okay with the idea of leaving him. And then, of course, you know, he gives him the horn. And then something starts attacking the soldiers from, like, the ground.
Yeah, like it kind of felt like Jurassic Park almost. The ferns just start rustling
Yeah.
and then they start dropping and dying.
Yeah. And like, you know, Caspian kind of doesn't really waste time figuring out what's going on. He just grabs, you know, Truffle Hunter and tries to get him out of there. And so they're just, Nickabrick and Truffle Hunter's watching all these soldiers fall to the ground, basically.
Right. And then the shuffle starts coming toward him and jumps out of the bush onto his chest and pulls out his sword, and it could easily kill Caspian, but doesn't.
And do you know who plays Rippy Cheap?
I looked it up. This
Our
was
queen.
Our queen.
One of our queens.
I didn't know any of this.
The real Queen of
The
England.
real Queen Eddie Izzard.
One of those voices that just like comforts my soul, because when I hear it, like, you know, things are going to be okay. Like, I was like one of my favorite humans voicing one of my favorite characters. I'm glad I didn't look it up beforehand because I heard her speak and I was like, oh my God.
So great.
We love you, Eddie. And then
back to the kids.
And then centaurs. And then back to the kids.
Yeah, the centaurs. And they look.
Yeah, what are you trying to, like, I mean, first of all,
Glenstorm was kind of.
I thought I was mentally unwell after watching Glass, but, you know, it's...
Anyway, and then back to the back to the Pevensies.
And
they're about
everybody's-
to get lost.
And everyone's grumpy.
Well, because they don't have any bear meat or apples.
I know.
So now they get hangry.
But then Lucy sees Aslan, and I guess here we do get a bit of the gaslighting. It's not
Yeah.
as mean,
It's
but...
not as heartbreaking or intense or emotional.
Yeah, and everyone doesn't believe her, except...
Edmund, he goes strong, just
He's
like
a
in the
good
books.
guy.
And he's like, I didn't believe her last time.
And it's not even condescending, like, well, I guess it's very, like, no, I got your, like, I have your fucking back.
He's with her the whole way. And he stands at the end. There's almost this silent, like, if you'll go, I'll go with you that they share.
Or just,
But they also both just feel defeated. And
But like the way he looks at her, he's like I'm sorry, there's something. But the way even Peter, the way he speaks to her, it's like it's not me. It's not
soft.
as mean. Yeah, and he's just like, I'm sorry, and I love that.
I didn't see him.
Yeah,
Like, I can't go off of something I didn't see.
yeah. And Ed is very sweet. And like this, yeah, this actor, this version of Edmund, I'm such a huge fan. And like really, again, they are just cramming stuff in. So we're jumping back and forth.
Well, I have this one heartbreaking because I don't think this line was in the book, but I think it's. I don't have who asked it. I think it was Peter, because yeah, it was Peter because he's got an ego. This book. In this moment, he asks Lucy, "Why wouldn't I see him? You know, like why? If Aslan was there, why wouldn't I have seen him? Why wouldn't he have shown himself to me?" And she goes, "Maybe you weren't looking." Oh, and I literally, that was the moment that almost made me cry when
Oh
she
wait,
just
yeah,
looks at him.
that happens later.
She says that later to Susan too.
Yeah. And again, the tones in this are very thoughtful and
Yeah,
sweet,
she
but
just like it's she doesn't mean in a rude way like, well, you weren't looking, but
yeah.
like you weren't looking for him.
Yeah. It's like
She's always looking for him.
exactly. Like, if you don't look for things, you're not going to see them. So now we're back to the Narnians who are in the dark woods and they're having that first sort of like council circle and like everybody's yelling.
Which is crazy. It's almost like a trial of
Yeah.
like of Caspian instead of this slow growing following and support
Mm-hmm.
because of Truffle Hunter, Nickabrick, and Trumpkin toting around their human friend. Like he's on trial and he has to sway the Narnians all in one go.
I mean, like Truffle Hunter is definitely the sweetest speaker, and like yeah, Caspian's like wanting to claim the throne to like the Telemarine throne to bring peace to everybody. It's like bitch.
Yeah, that's not like where did this come from?
Oh, I also mentioned in this part that the Truffle Hunter does make a point. Badges remember, and at this point we get the centaurs come back and they speak of planets that don't exist, and I put Wyatt will remember.
Yeah, that's when he talks about Tarva and Alambel, and he's hot. And they don't have those weird cheek pieces. The centaurs don't have those cheek pieces.
Yeah.
This is a different director. The other director was somebody with the last name. No, this is a different movie. But no cheek pieces. But they do have like the little nose piece. The prosthetics were for the humanoid faces, like the fawns and the centaurs. He was quite subtle and very good for this one
I agree.
compared to the last movie.
It's less distracting, and I feel like the whole point is like to make it more believable, and like they
This
do
looked
a great
really
job.
good. Yes.
So Caspian believes in the power of the horn. This episode is sponsored by the power of the horn. And then the centaurs are on board, the mice are on board, Truffle Hunter is on. Well, I mean, we knew Truffle Hunter's on board, but basically like they're preparing for battle.
This is again this whole movie. I know the last one was also giving Lord of the Rings subtly. This is like the river at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And then this, my sons and I offer you our swords. And then Reepicheep says, and our lives. This is giving, I give you my bow and my sword and my axe. I don't know what order they go in because I'm not that much of a Lord of the Rings fan, but I know it when I sniff it, and I was sniffing it all movie.
What does Tolkien smell like?
Sweat.
You know that farty smell you get when you open a bag of chips sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little cheesy, a little
That-
funky.
But lingering. So we cut back to the building of the Bridge of Bruna, where there's a fuck ton of people working.
God, so many people.
And the kids are there for some reason, which now I understand. But their cover's like almost immediately blown because Miraz and company are riding up.
Okay, I think I was off last time. Maybe there was just some other cut. I don't know why I have the note about them building the bridge so much earlier. Because I also have this. Whatever the case, they have to turn around and try Lucy's way.
I mean, you might be right.
But I proved myself wrong right here, I think. I don't know why I have that note so much earlier. I don't remember.
Maybe
there may have
because
been a
of when-
scene of the bridge being built, or maybe he sent somebody to build the bridge. I think that's what it is.
There were
I
lots
think
of
we
pre-shots.
I think we see a shot of him saying something to send somebody to the fords to build a bridge or
Yeah.
some crazy shit.
It's just kind of weird. It's like another one of that, like where they go to the castle before they head to the beavers, or
Yeah.
right after they go to the beavers
Yeah.
in the movie. It's just like, why is this happening? And then it literally they just go back to where Lucy saw Aslan. So again, we're skipping past a whole bunch of bullshit, which honestly I love, because I hated all that. And like, or then Lucy is just like, I wish you would stop thinking like grown-ups, at which to which Trumpkin replies, I am
I
a
am grown
grown-up.
up. Yeah, which is, besides the Trumpkin line, is the dialogue from the first time they were there.
Right,
Because
yeah.
Peter goes, "Where do you think you saw him?"
Mm-hmm.
And
And yeah, and then Lucy kind of like wanders, and then she
she's like, "Right over," and she fucking falls through the ground.
like a bit off the cliff, but I mean, she
Yeah,
like very
the drama.
like a little bit of a slip, and then everyone's like laughing and following her, and like they go through like, it's like down to the edge of the water where it's like a pretty like kind of ravine, and there's a sparkly and pretty, and then like I really actually love the shot because it shows Lucy like looking up to the sky, and then the sky goes from daytime to night, and then it pans back and she's lying with her hands behind her head, and it's just a really really good shot, which is what brings us to her and Susan's conversation, where Susan's like, why can't I see him? And yeah, Susan says it's maybe because she didn't really want to.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan wants to know if Lucy knew they were coming back, and Susie Lucy says that she hoped, but it really seems like Susan doesn't want to be there, and she legit says like, I'm happy to, are
Yeah, she's like, "Aren't you happy to be here?"
yeah,
She
like,
goes,
while it lasts.
lasts."
Yeah, 'cause she's too old to be there. It's like, she can't, the excitement that Lucy feels, like, that joy
Of
that,
being back.
yeah, like you see like from looking at the sky, just staying up at night while everyone else is sleeping, and Susan's just kind of like, I don't know, like it's where you come, it's like moving away and coming back to a place and seeing all the ways you've changed and that you don't really fit in that place anymore.
Yeah.
Happens to the best of us. And then actually this is one of the few situations where it doesn't like jump too much, because it just cuts to Lucy, who's waking up to like it's like a soft growling, but it kind of looks like the sun is very slowly rising.
Yeah.
And then she like
early dawn.
yeah, she like runs off into the light, and then like the similar as in the first movie when she kind of,
It's the same music
Yeah.
as when she first discovers Narnia while she runs off.
well, and then the leaves that you see is similar like to when she sends the message, and it's the leaves start floating and they're turning to like the shape of like a person or a spirit, and like the forest is like coming to life in the sunlight, and then the trees begin to move and dance in a way that would be, again, scary as hell if this had different lighting and different music in the background.
Yeah, the way they split into a pathway. And
Yeah.
It's like, that's the way you're going.
Because then Lucy rounds the corner to find Liam Neeson, Aslan, and she, of course, hugs him, and she notices that he's gotten bigger, and he's like, well, you've gotten bigger, so I've gotten bigger. And then she asks why he didn't come to help them. When I say, I pause to cry, because I realize some things. And then he says to her, things never happened the same way twice, dear one. And then there's a twig snap when you see both of them look in the direction of where the twig snaps. Lucy wakes up.
And it was a
Because
dream.
Apparently, yeah, this was a dream interaction, but like that does happen in the book. All
Yeah.
that actually does happen
And I think that it did happen.
in a dream.
Why does that mean it's not real?
Yes, sir.
Because, I mean, it's... Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe she sleptwalked. I don't know.
Maybe, but then she goes to the trees and she tells him to wake up, and she says Aslan, but then.
Well, she goes and she asks the trees to wake up,
Right.
and then she continues on the same
Right.
path
And
to
she
where
thinks
she
she
saw
thinks that-
Aslan,
yeah.
and she sees some movement and goes, Aslan?
And then Peter's
Peter's there.
Of course.
Of course, yeah, he woke up and he stops her from shouting, even though she already kind of shouted.
Right.
And it's a minotaur,
Mm-hmm.
which,
He doesn't look too scary, but
well, we've already seen him,
right.
and he is part of the old Narnians. He's part of Caspian's crew.
Mm-hmm.
But they only know the Minotaurs as part of the witch's
Bad
crew,
boys,
bad
yeah.
boys. Even after they defeated the witch, they went on to hunt down different dark creatures, including Minotaurs and things like that. So they're spookedy. And then Peter runs, right? To go like, ah, I'm gonna get ya!
I think he's like, yeah, kind of coming in. Well, actually, I think he's like kind of assessing
Creeping.
it out, and then Caspian
Yeah,
jumps
Caspian's
out
the one
and starts
who,
to fight
yeah.
him. And then like Lucy stops them before Peter is gonna like what hit him with a rock, and
Yeah.
then Peter realizes he's Caspian, and Caspian realizes that they're fam, but they're younger, and then
I
it
thought you'd be a bit older.
right. Uh,
If you'd like, we can come back in a few years, he says.
there's a lot of throwaway one-liners in
Uh,
this, but yeah, and then we get a common enemy unites even the oldest of foes, and yeah, and again, I am absolutely living for Eddie Izzard as a ferocious mouse knight.
it's incredible.
And at this point, I'm like, there's really another 98 minutes left in this movie, but like,
I paused here.
okay.
I had to take a bathroom break, and I saw that there was that much left, and I was also
My heart sank a
shocked.
little. I'm not
It's
gonna
like,
lie.
fuck, I have so much left.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm on page 11. I have 11 pages of notes so far. Granted, they're like double spaced or whatever, so that I can read them easier, but wild.
Yeah, I think also the reason why it's so hard to accept is because like they don't meet each other until much later, um, like towards the end of the book. So for those of us who are familiar with the story, like for Peter to be meeting Prince Caspian, it's like we're getting towards the end. We're getting towards like a battle's already happened. Like blah blah blah
Right,
blah.
they haven't gotten to the how yet.
Mm-mm. Like
But
so,
when he meets Caspian, yeah, the battle's already 3 days of battling
but
before he blows the horn
yeah.
to call them.
And then they jump back to the Telmarines at the bridge, and then Miraz is annoyed at Gazelle for being the only survivor of the Mushka attack, and like just just making the situation worse by being a brat and pissing all of his soldiers off. Like Miraz, that is.
Well, this was at a separate thing he said, or at least I got the impression that they stole stuff from that camp, from that wagon, and then that's why on the back of the wagon it said, "You were right to fear the woods." And he asked how many died in the raid, in the Narnian raid, and he said none. They came in at night and they left.
Mm.
And he said no. How many died in this barbaric raid? And Glazell looks over his shoulder at the three men behind him, and he says three. And then Miraz hands him a sword, and like says some other shit and walks away. So this, to me, I thought was just another one of those moments of, because then he says to Caspian that he was wrong. Caspian was not kidnapped. Caspian is part of this resistance. And so now he's switched the storyline to be the barbaric Narnians are led by Caspian, who has, quote, killed his own people. But really, he just had Glazell do it.
I think this is a good point to once again mention that I kind of wasn't paying super
There was so many pauses.
well, and also just because
It didn't happen.
Yeah,
None of this happened
so
in the
that's why
book.
I'm like, okay, sure, yeah. Like,
But I was like, this is so fucked up. And for why?
and it's like, yeah, it's not that it's unnecessary. Again, just also like this movie didn't need to be this long. They did add in a ton of stuff that didn't happen, and then I think they, honestly, I have more notes on things that were scrimped. I think as we're getting farther along, but again, jumping back from that,
Yeah, another jump cut to
the Narnians,
the Narnians
and they're
at
walking.
Aslan. Yeah, they're walking.
It's given Lord of the Rings.
They walk and walk for a little bit to get to Aslan's how.
Yeah, which is beautiful.
It's not exactly how I pictured it.
I was thinking it was Care Paravel for like a long time before I realized it was Aslan's
Yeah, and like the ruins at the entrance to the how look like the opening steps of the stone table to me. But
yeah.
then it goes down and they're walking and they're walking and they're walking underground before they get to the stone table. And so I don't know if it was created, as an homage to the original architecture or if it's just
Was that a considered
coincidental.
vomitorium?
Oh,
The tunnel that leads inside, would that be considered a vomitorium? Maybe not, because this doesn't lead to an open area.
Yeah.
Call in if you know about the Greek language. Um, but yeah, this part is cute because the centaurs all line up with their swords, and the kids know the drill, and Caspian is right behind them, and they walk through the centaurs holding their swords, and amongst the centaurs, they give us a cute moment where, do you want to?
I don't know. It's just so
It
cute.
is
This little
cute.
baby
Or
centaur.
like a teenage.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah. Maybe like
teenage
11, 12.
centaur baby. And they can't hold their sword up quite all the way, so the adult next to them
Like
helps
lifts the sword.
helps them hold it up.
So
And
cute.
the where they go inside, like it reminds me of when they go visit the dwarves in like the smithing area, because like they're working on like it isn't the same space, but they are working on weapons. And Susan sees cave paintings of themselves and the creatures and the beings that they knew, and Caspian leads them down or leads them downstairs, and then a sad-faced Lucy goes out of frame as the camera pans to a portrait of Mr. Tumnus, and I'm not crying, you're crying, but he's standing next to the lamppost and he's holding his umbrella.
Which means that he told the story of them meeting.
And then Caspian lights. It's I was having trouble describing it in my notes because it's like a trough like lamp well where you light some. It's like some oil. It's giving National Treasure, Indiana Jones. Like it lights the path and then it lights the room. And in that. You can once the room is illuminated, there's a giant like stone Aslan thing carved into the center of the wall, and you can see the stone table cracked before.
Yeah, I was a
children.
little confused, mostly because I didn't understand the significance of the other carvings, other than it was the people of Narnia. There was
Mm-hmm.
centaurs and beasts and things like that. I had anticipated it being more of the story, maybe just in 5 panels of like the children, the witch,
Mm-hmm.
Aslan, something like that. But it was gorgeous,
Yeah,
huge, glorious.
maybe there wasn't that much they needed to.
Yeah, they already had
Yeah.
the cave painting like mosaic of the kids walking into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was crazy different. This is where I have the shit is just so different.
Oh,
Like it's a
totally.
good movie, but it's not the same story. This is where I
No.
have that note.
And then outside, while this is happening, a fawn sees a Telmarine soldier who's on horseback, and they ride off into the spooky fog. And then we see now that everybody's come to the stone table, and they're coming up with a plan where Pete says, "This isn't a fortress, it's a tomb." And also, what about Lucy sitting on the stone table like a lounge singer
Love
at the
it.
goddamn
I
airport?
love it. I think that she's the only one that would ever be able to.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'm okay. It's not that
It's weird.
I don't mind her sitting on the table. It's just, yeah, her position is very like flase da.
It kind of, to be honest, it looked like the same position that she sat on it when Aslan was there, when she was like, all, oh, I'm crying, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
you know what? You're totally right. And in that moment, she reminds Pete that they didn't kill the White Witch. Who killed
Yeah.
the White Witch?
Don't forget who really killed the White Witch. Oh, she's like, don't, because Peter's fucking talking over Caspian, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, blah, 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 these aren't your people. And it's like,
They're not yours anymore.
they're not yours either.
Like, we've waited for Aslan long enough.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Me, bitch.
Oh my god. And so they go with Peter's plan, which is to go on the attack of the castle,
Yeah.
which is just a whole thing that does not happen in the books ever.
I think at this point I was like, wait, what?
I was so confused. They're like using the griffins to stealth fly in, and
Yeah.
they've got crossbows,
And they like drop Ed on top of the castle,
and
he's
he's
just
using the flashlight
yeah,
as
it's
a
like,
signal,
and
which
then
is
like
cute.
yeah, it's giving Harry Potter like,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm thinking also, because like this was around the time the Harry like by 2008 like the Harry Potter series had finished, so I think like that's kind of what they were pulling from, like not necessarily the movies that had come out, but more from the stories. But like
I didn't love the scene. I'm
no, I
if
mean
they were breaking in to save people, like if they end up saving somebody but like if the mission was they have 50 Narnians in there and we need to go save them, sure. If there was a real reason for them to siege this fucking castle, I would be for it.
There just
But
isn't.
I just feel like it's proving the Telmarines, like proving to them that the Narnians are these.
Yeah.
Because the story that he's been telling is they're barbarians and they're all like ruthless, and now here they come, like killing people left and right.
Yeah. Not to flash too far ahead, but like this, the only thing that happens from this is like it does equate to something that happens in the story, but it feels like a lot of work and a lot of death and a lot of nothing to have something happen that would have happened on its own anyway if they just would have told the story. So, anyway, we see the Narnian army standing outside, kind of giving like Voldemort's army, like standing outside the Battle of Hogwarts,
Yeah.
and like the outside's closed off, and the mice are sneaking into the castle. We can see that the rest of the kids are being carried by the I mean, I thought they're kind of like definitely like hippogriff like creatures and. Excuse me. And then they descend upon the castle, attacking the guards, and like I wrote all caps. None of this is book accurate in the slightest, but okay. And it seems like the castle takeover's going pretty well at this point because like the mice are doing their cute little like climbing on the ropes and hiding in the darkness and
Hiding from the kitty cat
yeah,
guard.
and Caspian and Pete are sneaking through, and they sneak through Dr. Cornelius's window, and then realize he's gone, and the kids are like, we need to go open the gate, do what we needed to do, and Caspian is like, no, I need to free him, but I can still get to the gate in time. I can do both. And basically, it's like, okay, I guess we'll do both. And then, the mice and Trumpkin, everybody's sneaking in, making size jokes, very stupid. And like, Caspian finds Dr. Cornelius, who's chained and locked, and he is so pissed that
he came back.
He's like, "What are you doing? Like, why?" Like,
Yeah, Caspian tries to make a joke. He wakes him up and he's like, 5 more minutes. And it's kind of cute. But like, he got put in this cage because Caspian got out. Like, why are you back here?
Yeah, like, he tells him not to underestimate Miraz.
As his father did.
Yeah, which is when it kind of like dawns on him
that maybe Miraz killed his father. Although, because Cornelius doesn't get to tell him all this stuff. In the books, Cornelius tells him everything.
Mm-hmm.
But even in the movie, he says, I wish I got to know. I didn't get to tell you all the things I wanted to tell you. And I was like, yeah, like the things that you tell him in the story. Like the things he's supposed to know, you're not going to tell him those things.
Because in the book, Dr. Cornelius shows up on his own and meets up with Prince Caspian. And then it cuts to the king and queen's chambers where they're They are sleeping. And then Miraz is awoken by Caspian's sword at his throat. And they have that whole, like, I'm not like you, like, you're just like me, or you're not like me. And then his aunt pulls a crossbow on him.
That's crazy. But
because,
she does...
Well, she doesn't seem stoked on it.
No.
And then the kids burst in, and then Miraz is like, this used to be a private room.
Oh my...
What is this, like... It was like...
Yeah, the comedic bits.
That was my only thing where I was like, really? Like, yeah, like, I don't know. But, like, yeah, and then the queen, we found out the queen didn't know because she thought that his brother died in his sleep, and he's like, oh, well, it's kind of true.
Kind of,
like,
yeah, he was asleep when I stabbed him.
He's a bit more loosey-goosey silly at this point. And, like, Susan is like, it's not going to make him any better to kill him. But then the queen, I think she just believes he's going to kill him. So she shoots him in the arm.
She shoots him, and then Miraz runs, and Susan shoots her arrow, but it doesn't hit Miraz, it just hits the door.
Right.
And then Pruna Prismia is like screaming. She's like, like, girl, what is going on? You just shot your nephew. Why are you screaming?
I mean, it's probably a combination of like that.
But she's probably just like, what the fuck is happening? My world has just fallen apart. Like, I thought my brother-in-law just died and it was sad, but my husband killed him, and that means that then she's probably like, that means he probably did kill all those people, like everybody says. But
because in the book we know that Caspian doesn't really like his aunt, but in this we don't really get to know much about their relationship at all.
She seems a little more sympathetic because they make her naive in that moment.
And then we have another funny moment because like we're back to Edmund who drops his
He's
flashlight
like
right
playing
next to
around with
a
it.
soldier, and he like the soldier like comically interacts with it because he's never seen one before. And then there's the bell tolling, and then it's everyone is running and fighting and clinging and stabbing, and the flashlight is broken. And then Peter goes to open the gate, and Sue is like, because at this point it's like the two of them. It seems like only the two of them are trying to do it.
Yeah, because
But
Caspian's nowhere to be found, and
but like the mice and other people are opening in it from other places as well, and it just Susan asked Pete like what they're doing it for, which is like, did you forget what we're doing, Susan? Did you like what? I don't know. Anyway,
no, she's asking him because I think that once the toll starts going off, she wants to call it,
yeah.
and so she's asking him like, why are we doing this? Like, because you're opening this gate so we can siege this castle.
But
They
like, that's
already
not
know we're
his
here.
call.
It's not. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not.
he can't
He can't call it off at this point, really.
They don't know where Caspian is, and then he does show up and starts helping. I mean, like at this point the centaurs are charging, and it's like,
But the signal's like a minute and a half late.
yeah.
Like, kind of thank God that there was all the kerfuffle because otherwise,
Do you think maybe this is falling apart because it doesn't happen?
Yes, 100%.
But then, that's what it is. We get our first.
Yes, Narnia!
So that I think we get that's our one on the for Narnia account.
It's the whole reason for this whole sequence of scenes.
And now I have to go back and recount every single for Narnia.
But since they're having this battle in the first courtyard, Miraz just lines up his crossbow archers like all the way around, but he doesn't have them shoot yet.
I mean, yeah, it's just more screaming and the stabbing and the mice
It
and
all
the
falls
men
to shit.
and the roars and the arrow. I'm pretty sure Susan throws an arrow into.
I think she does.
It's kind of badass.
It could never happen, but it's cool.
Yeah. Well, then and he escapes like a bunch of soldiers by like getting through a door, and then
Yeah, but then he's trapped in a dead end tower, and Trumpkin's also trapped in a dead end tower.
And then you cut to Miraz, who's just like watching this happen from his balcony, like, yes, yeah, this is excellent. But Peter sees him, so he starts up to him, and then sees a Minotaur get killed, not realizing that like Miraz's whole crew has shown up at this point. So it's like, maybe don't go for him at this particular moment. And yeah, Trumpkin is cornered, Ed's cornered, and Trumpkin gets falls from a window ledge, and then they realize like the gate is closing, and a Minotaur, this guy realizes, and he runs over and he gives his whole body strength as tribute, gives his life to keep that gate open. And
finally Peter calls for this fucking retreat.
Yeah, because this brave hero, our
And
soldier,
they all start rushing out, and he's struggling to hold it open, and Miraz gives the order to shoot.
and it's that type of thing where he gets hit a couple times, and of course, thankfully, everybody does get out, including Dr. Cornelius.
Not everybody.
Well, everybody that's alive.
In the story. Every plot pertinent character gets out alive.
Let me rephrase that. Everybody who's still alive and capable gets out. I don't think there's any living Narnians.
There's a bunch. They're at the gate.
Oh.
And they all say, "Run, go away." And Glenstorm is standing there, and he turns around, and his son is on the inside of the gate.
Yeah, again, probably didn't remember it because none of this actually happened.
And I'm like, so you just killed off Glenstorm's child for why?
Well, so Pete can get his spice bus jumping the London Bridge moment where he gets to like go over the moat, and like thankfully when Edmund jumped off the balcony with all the confidence of Aladdin getting onto his magic carpet, and he does get picked up by one of the hippogriffs, and so we know that he's okay. And
you see him fly over, and he's looking down and sees the wreckage.
And like everybody's like very sad, very defeated, slowly walking back to the How, and Pete is super pissed at Caspian, and he's like, "You changed the plan," and Caspian.
Peter's blaming Caspian. He's like, "It's your fault.
Like, you called us here. Like, it's not the other way around. Like, we didn't come to you." And like Caspian says that they abandoned Narnia, and Pete's like, "Bitch, you stole it."
Yeah, like you're not Narnian.
Like, you don't have any more right to rule than your uncle does.
And it's really sad because, well, not that part isn't really sad, but before they all arrive, it shows Lucy and she's like fiddling with her healing cordial because she
Just
knows
waiting.
she's probably about to need it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that
she isn't at the battle.
she doesn't really need it. They only need it for Trumpkin because
Mm-hmm.
everybody who was wounded wasn't able to get out, and so there's nobody wounded to heal.
Yeah. Well, in that moment before, like, I mean,
It's just so.
well, Pete and Caspian are about to fight each other, and Ed yells stop, and that's when Trumpkin's been brought back, and like
Mm-hmm.
Lucy doesn't hesitate, and like he then the part that broke my heart is like again doesn't happen. None of these characters exist, but like you see like a more like femme looking centaur look at a pair, and and then you see her like get this like nonverbal confirmation that I'm assuming, her centaur partner died or
It's Glenn. It's Glenn. I assumed it was Glenn Storm's wife,
okay,
and
yeah,
she's looking at him because
yeah,
they lost one of their sons. It's
right.
just him and his one other son.
That okay, yeah. I just so many characters who aren't
Yeah,
like actually given the
any
credit, but
real
yeah,
time or
even without me knowing or caring who those characters, it was still
broke my heart.
yeah, it was absolutely just heart wrenching. But and Trumpkin is alive because I remember watching that happen and I was like, I don't think he dies there, but also none of this happened, so
Right, they might as well kill off characters.
yeah. And then it's back to Lucy, or no, sorry, not back to Lucy. Lucy is the hero, but it's back to the bridge for a moment, and then it's kind of this is a bit of a montage, or maybe like a quick transitional sort of thing because
My
like
heart was pumping. I couldn't probably pay attention.
well, like in this part, so in the book, Miraz is already king, but now we get a scene of him like his coronation, I guess, like he's being crowned king.
Yeah, they're all supporting him. They're like, "Long live the king." I remember I said my
Mm-hmm.
heart is pumping. I'm just so mad, and I'm mad that it didn't happen, and I'm mad at the choices that everybody's making, and I think that it's believable because they're teens. But I was just like mad that all these people died and it was for nothing, and
Mm-hmm.
this wasn't even part of the plot. So it was extra all for nothing.
No, and like you see more of, like the suspicious and like concern of like on like Gauze and like Sop's face, and like just about what Miraz is doing. I don't know. It's just kind of like building more of that whole thing of like their suspicion, their lack of loyalty to him, and then it cuts to soldiers marching on what I guess is now a completed
Yeah,
bridge.
the bridge is done now, and they're all marching, and they've got catapults and shit.
Yeah, and then they're back to Aslan's How, and it's Caspian looking at the cave paintings, and then Nickabrick scorns him, and then Nickabrick scolds him for using the horn. And the way that he says that to him, it reminds me of like that negative inner monologue. Like it's the type of thing where it's like, of course that person's already thought about that. Like why
Yeah.
would you say that? Like, it's just like a shitty thing to say. And here's where it gets hella, hella twisted. Nickabrick wants to use bad magic, bad magic. He wants to use dark magic to save Narnia, and he mentions the White Witch, and there's also different creatures in the room, and there's like I couldn't in my head I was like, is that a wolf bear? Is there
It's
a
a
bear
it's a
and a wolf?
werewolf. It's a werewolf, which is the same.
Yeah, like the
And
bird
then
hag
it's a
lady.
harpy instead of a hag,
Okay,
which I
it
feel
looks
like
like
a
a bird.
hag. Yeah, harpy's a bird creature.
Okay.
Like she reminds me of that harpy, that one that was like taunting Aslan, and then he kind of shifted and was like, "Wow!" and it flew onto the thing in the
Maybe.
first movie.
Yeah, I guess I was it doesn't have wings. They make it look more
Yeah,
human.
she's more
It's more
humany,
like
but
a
she's got like
snaky
a
bird.
beaky mouth.
Yeah, and then they start just doing some
She
magic.
carves a circle around Caspian and starts doing this ritual, and she has the half of the witch's wand, the witch's spear, and it makes it more believable that he doesn't really go along with it, but that he would be even a little more tempted than in the original storyline
Hmm.
because of this huge fatality that they just had, which I guess is their version of the 2 days of war that they skipped out on. But he needs to be desperate.
Yeah, they
And
wanted to show the war.
this made him desperate, and it's right off the edge of that.
Yeah. Well, and then the hag has this like silvery kind of staff thing, and then
Well, it's the witch's wand. When Edmund cut it in half, it's the top half of her spear, of her stone wand.
okay. It was just so long that maybe it in the way maybe it was just the way I wasn't like paying attention to her moving it around. It just looked like some long ass silver stick, which whatever. I figured it was probably magical, but then she like Elsa's.
Yeah,
A-
stabs it in
and she
between.
lets it go, and then like it's like it's not like it's like a frozen door kind of portal like slab.
Yeah, within the foundation, like within the pillars of
Yeah,
the fortress.
yeah, and you can see the White Witch inside.
And it kind of pans to behind the ice, and she's definitely kind of ethereal, like it's spiritual.
Like,
She's
help
not,
me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah,
Like,
she's
she's
not a human back there. She's
she's
not
like
a full
3D.
person.
Yeah, and Caspian's like, nah. And to be fair, I don't think he ever actually said yeah.
He didn't.
Like, they just
They
started.
just started it,
Yeah,
and they're like,
but
"Oh, it'll only take a drop of blood," and
yeah,
she's
until the
like,
Swin's doing her fiery siren call, like, don't you want to let me
"Yeah."
out of here? It's frozen and cold. Yeah, and
And
like,
the hag cuts his hand.
yeah, and then she's like reaching for him, and then he gets sucked in.
Yeah,
He's
he
like
gets tempted.
entranced,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's just like,
And all
yeah,
it'll take is one drop. And I was wondering why. I was wondering if that would bring her back because it's life, because it's blood, or if it's kind of more like a Voldemort thing where she wants Adam, quote Adam's blood, because it would give her claim to the throne. So if she could come back with human blood running through her, would she be able to then rightfully in the Narnian world, laws, be able to make a claim for the throne?
that's getting into magic bureaucracy that like I don't think I have time to read the fine print. But in my head, I'm like, I know when, lots of other stories, it's like if you like it's like a bond that you make with the demon. It's like
You're right, a blood
yeah,
bond.
and like they have your soul. It's like they
Right.
don't need to
And
work.
that's why she's back, basically.
Yeah, like she
It
just
would
gets
be
his soul.
his soul.
But yeah, she's getting very pretty, very like yeah, like and she like
Very
blows,
face tuned.
yeah, she blows a kiss and like extends and like you see his expression. It's scared, but then he's like kind of almost like like excited, and then
He puts out his hand
and
to
then
meet
yeah, and
hers.
Peter yells stop.
Because her hand is like coming through the ice, and
Oh
it's
yeah, at this
real
point,
flesh
yeah,
fingers. It's so cool. Love the effect. And yeah, Peter runs in, tackles him, pushes him
and
out or whatever.
yeah, and like Ed kills the werewolf,
Well,
and Trumpkin kills Nickabrick.
yeah, because Lucy comes up and she puts her dagger to his throat for a second, but then he like tosses her aside. And
I was like, don't you dare touch
yeah,
our girl, Lou.
I was like, don't you
Who do
dare
you
kill
think you
somebody,
are?
Lou. We can't have that on your character conscious.
No, absolutely not.
Conscience.
And like, but while stopping Caspian, he like Pete
Yeah,
himself
he
gets
ends
sucked
up in the circle and he's tempted.
and like then there's like a slash in the ice, which
Yeah, from
it appears from the front, or like you see the slash from the front, though there's no one there or anything, and then like the ice like it turns into big pieces and shards and cubes almost,
and like water.
yeah, and it crumbles, and then you see Edmund is standing there, and he just looks at Peter and says like, I know you had it sorted.
Which is the callback to the beginning because he jumped into the fight for Peter. And Peter was like, I had it sorted. He's like, yeah, it looked like it. It was like
Right.
4v1 or some shit.
And who knows better than Edmund what it's like to get sucked in, like
Sucked
although
in by the witch's charm. Yeah.
it's just
It seemed like he saw it, and so he didn't even look. He went around the back. It's like Medusa. He's like, she's not even going to see me.
mm-hmm.
Because also, she's had hooks in him. Like, he doesn't know what he's playing it really smart.
Yeah, he knows. He has the.
No
most
one knows the
knowledge.
witch like Edmund knows the
He
witch.
played chess. And so then he.
They bonded though,
Yeah,
na
ha,
na
ha,
na
ha.
na,
And then,
because
yeah,
they
he-
both were about to fucking bring the White Witch back, and they're like, "What the fuck? We suck."
And Edmund walks away, and Caspian and Pete look at Aslan's portrait, and then Susan glares at Caspian and walks away, and basically like leaving them to the choice or the consequences of their choices.
Correct.
And then we're back outside in the light where Dr. Cornelius walks up to Caspian, who's looking out at the view from Aslan's house, and he's alone. And then this is where he tells him about his dwarf lineage and how he risks his identity being potentially found out in order to like maybe help save Narnia one day, and and that Caspian could be the Telmarine there it is, Caspian could be the Telmarine who saved Narnia. And also at this point there's still an hour left of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
It's a long ass movie. Peter tells Lucy she's lucky to have seen Aslan.
So much self-pity.
Yeah, he wants proof.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why can't he just prove that he's, gonna help us? And Lucy's like, well, maybe we have to prove ourselves to him. And I feel like that's the whole moral of this second story. The
Mm-hmm.
first time was all about him proving to them that they were worthy. And now they have to show him that they know that they're worthy.
Basically, at this point, they're like, okay, well, Lucy saw Aslan. She's going to go off and get Aslan. And, like, Susan's going to go with her. Like, we're not going to send her off on her own. But we're going to have Mira, we're going to offer Mira as a proposition where he can fight Pete to the death. Just the two of them. And, like, you'll have your army nearby in case
Yeah.
like, anyone does anything shady.
Yeah,
You can
that's
take
all the same.
breaks. Like, and Edmund goes and delivers the message.
Right. Same as the book.
By Hippogriff.
Regular stuff.
And it's the same thing where, like, this invitation is meant to poke at his ego, and it almost doesn't work. But
yeah, Edmund definitely pokes at the ego more in the movie than he did the book, and it doesn't really work. And then,
Gazelle and
Glazelle and
Caspian
are like, he would never refuse.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, now you don't have a choice.
Because the whole time they want him out, and they realize like this will get them
perfect.
out. But they
A
also
win-win.
believe in their army, so they're like, it doesn't like if they kill him, then we're good. Then we can do what we want.
It's the same motives as in the book, but we have now gotten to see it develop, which is kind of cool. Although I don't know if it's worth the hour extra of movie.
I don't either. So like cutting then ahead to Caspian, who's with Susan and Lucy. They're on a horse, ready to go. I don't like this romantic tension between Susan and
Caspian.
It's totally unnecessary. Stop it.
Pointless.
He's way too old for her, regardless. Also, maybe she's way too old for him because she's like
13,000. That's what she
Yeah.
says later.
And so like he tries to give her
Or
her horn,
1300.
and she tells him to keep it in case like you might need to call me again.
Yeah, you might need to call me.
Ugh. And like whatever.
Oh.
Miraz is ready to fight Pete. Everybody's gathered to fight, or to watch them fight. And he's like, he tells Pete, you can still surrender, but then they clang,
they
clang,
fight.
clang, one thing armor.
This is
Stab,
basically
stab,
all.
stab with
This
the sword.
this is all the same. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And he
then-
tells Pete to keep smiling. Blah blah blah. Smacked in the face.
Yeah, there's just, back and forth. And then it cuts back to Susan and Lucy. And then, like, of course, some Telmarines spot them for no reason. And Susan gets off and tells Lucy to go on. And she stays to fight the soldiers. And honestly, she's doing pretty good. She's, like, knocking them out one by one.
She only has like 2 left.
Yeah, until she gets knocked over by a horse. But then Caspian comes out of nowhere and, saves her. And, like,
Oh, don't you wish you had that horn? Blah blah blah. And then they just leave. They go back to the how instead
Mm-hmm.
of going after Lucy, which is stupid. But
yeah, and
whatever.
then back to the clinging and the clanging.
Peter gets his good spin move.
And then they do a 3-minute break. This is definitely like, one of those moments. And like Peter tries to give Edmund the if something happens to me speech when, and Edmund just like doesn't let him have it. Like
He just re-pops his shoulder from being dislocated, and it says, "We'll talk about it later."
while relocating his shoulder.
Yeah.
And Edmund's just like, nah. But the way that Miraz comes back from this break is definitely like way hot and more vicious, but it's like the type of thing where he's tired, so he's just going really hard. But
And he's
like
wounded.
Yeah, and because Peter doesn't come in that hot and he is younger, he's able to just like kind of, I don't know, move about him. And before the break, he had cut his leg, and so he just punches the spot, and then that definitely bestokes Miraz to ask for another break. But he is a swindling liar, and he, goes for Pete when his back is turned, which of course Peter is able to. Luckily, he stabs him. It's kind of like in the armpit, like right under his armor, is what it looked like.
I mean, it wasn't his heart, but
It was chest.
it was on the right hand side. But this is that spin move I was saying. I thought we were already there, but he spins, and he like gets him up underneath the chest piece, but he goes to the right hand side, so he doesn't stab him through the heart, but it's still like a really intense wound, maybe a punctured lung, and
in the book he just gets him under the leg, but like, I mean, basically,
he doesn't really wound him that
because he
much.
falls.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete just kind of waits to see what happens, and then Miraz asks if he's too cowardly to take his life, but Peter knows it's not his life to take, and then I said Capsicum. Prince Bell Pepper slowly, or like Peter has Miraz's sword, to which he gives to Caspian, and Caspian looks at him, and Miraz tells him that he might have the makings of a Telmarine king after all. And Caspian stabs the sword into the ground and says, "Fuck you." And he declares that the land needs to be given back to the Narnians, which is great. And of course, the Narnians cheer. Um,
But this was a battle to the death, low key. Like,
it was supposed to be.
yeah,
So, like, if he's not dead, then, he stumbles over to.
to Glozell, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna deal with you after
Mhm.
this," because he said if the fight started going badly, he wanted Glozell to shoot.
I thought you said it was so Caspian. Or is that you mean the book?
What? Oh, in this it's Glozell, because Sepespian is the.
Well, so Caspian attacks him. Or, no, so Caspian stabs him.
Does he? I thought it was Glozell. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm
I
I'll
kept
tell
getting
you.
them
I'll tell you
mixed up,
why.
low key.
I mean, yeah. Well, so in my head, it was so Caspian stabs him, and then he tells the army that the Narnians committed treason or whatever, and then they
Yeah.
do like that cute shot.
Right,
Of,
because he stabs him with Susan's arrow,
yes,
so it looks like they shot him from
Mhm.
afar instead of in the book he just stabs him with a knife and is like he killed him. And it's like, well, he was supposed to.
or just something. I don't know. It just it's one of those dumb things where it's all made up just to get the army revved up and charging, and they do that cool shot where Peter's like 1, 2, and then he
Yeah,
goes
and
to
then
Caspian.
Caspian, he's counting, and they're running underneath the tunnel,
Back to
and
Peter. 5, 6. They actually don't really finish the count now that I think about it, but like, yeah, basically, it's a cool plan because Caspian and the Narnians are running underground and create this like.
well, because they're running in the How, which is a big old group like of labyrinths, and so they're running underneath the battlefield.
Like a mole quake.
Yeah, and then they just start breaking the support, and the ceiling of the labyrinth is the ground outside, and
Yeah, and then probably also the weight of all the horses and the soldiers running across it.
yeah,
and, like,
over
it's
that
old and so
2 foot of dirt.
it's like it creates like a hole, which like honestly like just it's mostly unfair to the horses again.
Yeah.
And like it kind of seems like it worked great, and then like
Right, and then the archers have their perfect spot, and so they're just like
and Susan's
popping
leading
down.
the archers.
Yeah, of
and,
course.
and like the Narnian army burst from underground. They're surrounding like the
Yeah, they
first
came around and
wave.
flanked them.
I thought it was all of the Telmarines.
Yes, so did the Narnians, I think.
And but
and
they
then all
had
of a sudden,
yeah.
it's only the first wave.
And then there's like giant rocks and shit like being hurled at them, and like
Because they start to try and retreat to the How.
and then they break the
door.
Yeah, they
crumbles.
can't get into
They can't
it.
get in.
And then Susan almost falls, and Trumpkin saves her, and you see that like shitty dictator moment where Gazelle's just like crush them all, and then this is this is where I feel like I know what happens, but like you see Caspian like with the siblings sans Lucy, and like they're getting ready to like fight, but instead of letting me finish that thought, we got to go back to Lucy, because at this point she's still somehow being chased by a
followed.
soldier, and like Aslan shows up and he roars her off of her horse, and then he pounces on the Telmarine.
Yeah, and you didn't have to roar her off her horse because the Telmarine didn't fall off his horse.
No, unnecessary.
It's ridiculous.
But Lucy runs to him, and then we do get that quote
guilt.
again.
Oh yeah, he says it again. Things never happen.
He does guilt her, like
And the guilt is so much worse now because of this shift of the timeline. And so Lucy feels a lot more responsible for all of these deaths. Because she's like, could it have all been different if I had gone to you sooner?
there's no way to know.
And there's no way to know. But before then, it was more of like, could we have saved time? And like, yes, they would have gotten to the house sooner, potentially, so lives would have been saved. But the battle, this battle was more of their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, let's go wake your friends.
And now we're kind of like back into the book story for a moment. And like, it's again, we're in the battlefield and things really aren't looking super great for the Narnians. So this
starts looking bad again.
This is why I know Caspian stabbed him, because Gazelle is about to, he's fighting, and he's about to stab Caspian, and he stops himself because I think, who knows, but in that moment, a tree root like lunges from the earth and pulls him, and it doesn't like kill him necessarily. It just kind of like sucks
yanks
him
him
back,
into
and it seems to like knock him unconscious. And the trees are like coming alive, and Peter knows that Lucy's on her way.
Yeah, these tree spirits are overpowered as fuck.
Also, we get our second
For Aslan!
That's a twofer.
Yeah, see, I have that note as Caspian, but
Mm.
I don't know.
And
And yeah, so then they make the Telmarines retreat back to
Mhm.
the bridge.
Yeah, because they're freaked out.
Yeah, the fucking trees are alive. So they're running and they're running. And the bridge is still there.
The bridge is still there, and then on one side there's Lucy, who like has her little knife.
Yeah, and she's smiling and she's standing on the other side, so fucking smug.
And then Aslan appears next to her, but like the Telmarines, I guess, don't care. So they not only start crossing the bridge, they're like in the water.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and they're like, well, charge. Like, this is one lion and one girl.
Mhm.
There's fucking the forest is alive back there.
Yeah, her weapon is tiny. Like,
Yeah.
we'll maybe make it, but then he roars.
Roars across the river, and this is the second Lord of the Rings, third Lord of the Rings vibes.
Yeah, it's like a giant ass wave that comes roaring down the river, and then it turns into the river god, which
yeah.
scares the shit out of them, and like it lifts the bridge kind of on its back, and then flips it around, and only Miraz is on it, and then it just swallows him. And then
Well, Miraz is dead. Miraz got stabbed with the arrow.
oh my gosh! See, now I'm doing it. This was
is
so
Caspian.
Yes, excuse me. Editing wind it back.
See, I have this one as Caspian, so I think I just had that one note earlier that had them
I mean, he could have
mixed
done
up, and it got
both.
me. I don't think so, because there's no way he got crunched by that tree spirit and then got on his horse and got to the bridge.
Yeah, that's fair. At least not for a minute.
No.
So Caspian is the one who gets picked up and gobbled. And then it just, crashes and the whole bridge is destroyed, and you just see like the masks and like rubble and weapons and stuff shining in the river.
Everyone surrenders.
You also see like a lot of the Narnians like not like arresting the soldiers, but like helping them up.
Yeah, they help them up, and then they take their weapons, and then they're like on one side of the river, and the Narnians are like recouping on the other side.
And the kids go to Aslan and they kneel.
Yeah, they all kneel, and he says, "Rise, kings and queens of Narnia." And
Caspian doesn't.
Yeah, Caspian doesn't stand up, and he goes, "All of you, oh, so wonderful."
And then Caspian says that he isn't ready to be king, which Liam Neeson tells him that's why he is ready. And then the mags, and then the mice are playing their wee little bagpipes and carrying our hero, and Lucy saves him with her magic drink.
With one drop, mind you.
One drop.
One
for
drop,
the wee little
not
mouse.
one drop for each wound.
And Our Lady is back again. Reepicheep is, better, alive, healed completely, but missing the tail.
Without the honor.
Which, yes, it's an honor, but also really would be very difficult for a mouse to balance without.
Yeah.
And Aslan isn't convinced, but the other mice are willing to cut off their tail if Reepicheep can't have their tail.
Which I'm glad they kept. As much as they changed, they at least kept this bit.
Yeah, which is sweet, very sweet. And then, his tail magically grows back thanks to Aslan.
Yeah, he breathes it back.
And then we get our one and only dear little friend reference to Trumpkin.
Susan said it earlier.
Oh, did she?
She
Okay.
said the DLF earlier.
Oh, it must have slipped past me ass. And he doesn't toss him or pick him up in his mouth.
Yeah, this is again another one that's just like
just gives him a.
He roars, and Lucy's like, "Do you see him now?" And then they all kind of chuckle.
And then it's a parade in the streets, and the kids, they look like they're still the same age, so probably the next day or a couple days, but like what they're wearing, it's like royal leisure wear. It's kind of more like what you were describing when we were talking about the outfits they put on before they first meet Trumpkin. Like it's very like casual, royal,
regal, yes.
And then there's fireworks again, which okay, fine, I guess there really aren't that many birds in Narnia. And Caspian's wearing these like fancy ass shants that are very rectangular. And we actually do get that shot of Susan and Peter walking with Aslan, which those of us who read the book know which conversation they're having.
And we see Susan shed a tear.
Yeah, and like Caspian can just tell it's not a great conversation, but
right, because it's like joyous, and he kind of walks into the courtyard, and he sees
like,
them,
he's
and
like,
he's having a good time.
Ready, and
and
then
it's
they
ready for you.
they
and
keep walking.
She's crying.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, see you later.
Right. And then it cuts to all the Telmarines, and all the people, and the queen is there with her baby, and
Yeah,
Aslan's
gives the
given a speech, and he's
speech.
like, yeah, you can't go back to where you're from. And I feel like this is a part where Aslan gives huge spoilers that are not in this book. That is
What do you
information.
mean? Which ones?
Um, okay, well,
Because
obviously, like
he says the same stuff. I thought the pirate stuff.
he talks about the pirate ancestors, whatever, but he talks about the portal cave or a chasm. I don't remember a cat that
He
ever
says
being.
it, yeah,
He
and then he
does.
says that there used to be a lot more of them,
I feel like
and
that's
there's
not
a
mentioned
lot.
in the book. It's just like they
It is,
traveled. Okay,
yeah.
because that I felt like was too much, and like I thought we found that out like in
No, that
Voyage of
was
the Dawn
definitely
Treader.
there.
Okay, I felt like Aslan gave huge spoilers because I don't remember him talking about the degree of how the Telmarines got there. I thought it was just they were sailing and then maybe they sailed too far into the horizon. Like I didn't know that there was like actually like a portal cave sort of thing. But like basically he's like, Aslan tells them they can't go back there because it isn't there. And tells them that they can go to the world that the kids are from. And like it's in this and like this is how like Gazelle, like he is alive.
Okay, well, I have Sepespian for all of these notes, so I don't know who's who.
I mean, I swear. We can also look at
I'll look it up.
yeah, so my notes has that Gazelle is there and he has like this sort of like slashy kind of like villain slant scar on his face, and he goes with the queen, her baby, and what I assume is maybe the queen's dad or something is like this older gentleman with gray hair who I don't really know if we get much reference to. Maybe we see him in a scene at some point, but they're the ones who get to go where Aslan breathes on them, and then the two trees you see next to each other.
I think it's like one tree that kind of like.
Yeah, or it's two trees twisted together to make one tree, and then we see them untwist to make the portal. But all right.
It is Glazell in the last bit, so he's the one. It doesn't matter who he is, whether he was the tree or the river, I guess.
I think it's yeah, Sebastian.
Sepespian is the
Sebastian.
river.
Sebastian gets got by the river.
Okay.
Sebastian kills
That.
Miraz and gets got by the river, and Gazelle gets knocked out by the tree, but then gets to go to the human world first. And so the tree that was too twisted together untwists into a portal door, and as they walk through, it's not even like they fade away; they just like disappear and just thin air. They just like do a spin, and like I feel like at this point they just kind of like cut it really fast because like instead of a whole thing, like the Telmarines are like,
Oh, we're not gonna go.
"Please,
You're
something
gonna
happens
kill
to
us.
and Reepicheep offers, but like that's not even like addressed. Literally, Pete just says that they'll go because their time's up and that they're not needed there anymore. And he gives Caspian his sword because
Yeah,
he doesn't need it.
same way. Book regular.
And we find out that Peter and Susan aren't coming back. But Ed and Lucy probably are. So that's something. And then it's like literally just because Peter and Susan need to go be adults in their own world, which is so
boring.
so boring.
They all say goodbye. Lucy gives Trumpkin a big old hug. She's making best friends.
They like have
every
a
time.
pause before the hug too.
Yeah,
which
like
is-
they weren't gonna hug.
And I don't feel like they got goodbyes like that in the book, so this is nice.
They didn't. They didn't know they were leaving.
Well, then like again with
Oh,
the
in
tension.
the book they said goodbye, but not like this.
No, but yeah, and then like the tension with Susan and Caspian, and she
She kisses him, and then they hug. She's like, "It would have never worked. I'm 1,300 years older than you."
Like Lucy's like gross. Edmund is like, yeah, no, it is gross.
Yeah.
And then Regina Spektor,
Comes in with the call.
honestly, it's not that I even dislike Regina Spektor. It's just like that was a terrible song choice. Like you're gonna choose a song from the human world. It was so stupid. I literally was like, it was like some fan fiction editing over.
Yeah,
type
where
of
they were
shit.
like in the caption, imagine this song, or like pause to play this song.
Yeah, and I was like, it just was literally just any other song. It was just not the vibe. Again, no disrespect to Regina Spektor and her body of work. I just don't think that was the right song choice for that scene. And like, I feel
Didn't
like
stop me from weeping.
I feel like in the book, and when they describe them getting to Narnia, that level of effort is like how they show them getting back. Whereas in the book, them getting back to London is the way that they
Instant.
show it in the beginning, which again, I get it. Like, it's a movie, you're trying to suck people in. And it's pretty quick the way that they get back to
Yeah, they
London.
just step
Like,
through, and just like how they other people disappeared, they just appear back on the platform. It
aren't wearing their
basically,
school clothes,
yep,
and
ready to
like
go.
the scarf boy is on the train.
Aren't you coming, Phyllis?
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny that he knows her name, but still calls her by the fake name.
I
So it's kind of
mean,
tongue in cheek, where he's shooting his shot again. He's like, "Look, I'm not. I'm funny. I hate it, but
yeah.
it was kind of funny."
Like, look how many boys are after Susan. And then
Oh,
Edmund, of course, realizes that his flashlight
yeah,
was left in Narnia. And then the train takes off, and that's
that's it.
that on that.
And there's the little stairs, and it says "Way Out," and it's like lit up toward the stairs. It's just like a neon sign that's probably not any sort of magical anything. It's just there, but seeing that the way out, and they're just like going on the train through the tunnel. They already had their way out to Narnia, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're going back to their boring regular subway train ride.
So, like, all things considered, like, yeah, they took out my favorite story point, which was like
The nurse.
Caspian's nurse, the people, Aslan going and fighting the people. Like, it really removed a lot of that aspect, and I appreciate they're trying to make it less religious, but they really leaned into the Lord of the Rings sort of like pew, pew, pew,
It was
energy.
literally felt like a Lord of the Rings fan fiction, like a Narnia AU Lord of the Rings. Like,
And like, why can't you just keep? It doesn't have to be specific. Like, just have it be spiritual, because like, if you don't have spirituality or something to like focus or anchor yourself in, you have nothing.
yeah, like Narnia is a spiritual place.
Yeah.
It's a magical, mystical, fantastical. Da, 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 da. Oh, you probably don't know that song. I'm singing the theme song. Well, I wasn't, but the melody of Silly Sing-Alongs too. It's a
I was
CD.
thinking Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah, no,
I'm like,
that's fine.
we're like 60 years apart. I'm in my mid to late 80s. But yeah, overall, I feel like, okay, cool. They give you cool information to set you up for the next stories. We know that we know that Edmund and Lucy will probably come back.
Yeah, they say, oh,
But
you
Peter and Susan will not.
never.
And also precursors you that, like, if they wait, another year or 2 years, that the longer they wait to come back to Narnia, the more things will have changed. So who knows what will happen in the next story, which I'm excited to read, because it's been a minute since I've read the third installment in this saga,
Yes.
which is the Voyage of the Dawn
Treader.
Treader,
Well,
which
I think this is what the fifth one in the book set.
well,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
but
but
like
it's the third chrono.
I'm going based this off their publication.
Yeah, totally. Which is crazy, because like this one, I normally would read. This is one of my favorites because it's like classic adventure. It's fun.
But maybe that's why I think the world is so nice in Narnia, because he had all this time to flush things out. And like, because the next book is, like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, this book, following book, all those things were bam, bam, bam in order. And then once we get to other books, we're going to be going, back to different times, and even maybe forward in time. And like, it's just, yeah, it's one of those things where you're jumping around a lot. But it does give you time to fill up the world, and it doesn't feel like he's making stuff later on to equate for other things. He's just like padding and amplifying what's already there.
Yeah, right. Because we have heard now about these lone islands and all these different places, and these characters have been there before, and so now if they ever need to go anywhere fun, he has places to choose from. Like, it is. I know we said that he's not the greatest writer,
Yeah.
and
Are
he's
you
not.
looking to get away?
The Lone Islands.
Lonely Island. Oh wait, that's something.
Yeah, the Lone.
Yeah, so this was a long movie. I felt like I took more notes on this than I needed to, but also I think it's because I was trying to like comprehend the whole story, and obviously based on like what you remembered that I didn't, there was so much more.
Different.
Or yeah, just
So much more to the.
yeah, so much more was just added in, so much more was just embellished, and like overall I liked the movie. My only things were, I wish that, even if just leaving everything as it is, just had a younger actor for Prince Caspian and remove the romantic tension from Susan and Caspian, and I'd be fine.
I think I would be a lot more okay with the timeline shifts, but I still don't. I don't know.
She could
I
have kissed him on the cheek.
yeah
That would have been fine.
yeah. I don't know. I don't get the reason behind the timeline shift all that much. Like I know I said I get it at the beginning, but it's still like it just
Lies.
the story was good. People wanted the movie. Oh, notes for fucking Greta. We don't have a single notes for Greta in here, but my notes for
Shit.
Greta is for you to please just do the fucking timeline as
Yeah.
is. Please. Notes for Greta. Notes for Greta.
Yeah, like don't just flush. Don't like. There's so many stories. Not every movie has to be 3 hours. Like you don't need to add in shit. I mean, maybe if they kept some of the stuff like with the Queen and things like that, like
Yes, you can
you
keep
know,
some of the extras, but those extras can, some of them, fit into the timeline. Don't have the
also
castle siege. Don't
yeah,
have the bullshit.
have the nurse, have the
Yeah.
people of the town,
Keep the
have the
lore, sure. Keep the world building, sure.
like the CGI is better now. Of course, we want to watch little boys turn into pigs.
Yes.
I mean, it happens all the time. You know what I mean? Anyway, thanks everybody for sticking with us through this one. We know it was a long review, but it's not our fault.
Yeah, they made the movie 3.5 hours long. I mean, 4.5 hours.
It was 500 years.
It
Yeah,
was a while. It took a while to get through it, as
yeah.
did this recording.
Like I thought it was going to be a regular movie, but it was a Narnia
It
length movie.
was,
Like by the time I finished watching this movie, it had been 80 years.
yeah. I came back and my house was in ruins.
Like I aged, now I'm back to a child again.
And 1 out of 5 Aslan roars, I think.
1 out of 5.
I give it 1 out of 5 as far as Narnia movies. I I give it 3 out of 5 stars for a regular movie. But this gets one Aslan roar for ours.
I'm gonna give it 2, just because I thought it was very beautifully
1.5.
yeah, average 1.5.
Cause yeah, it was just part of it was fun because it was like a movie. It was like, oh, I had never seen this. This isn't the story. I mean, I have seen it, but yeah, it was just wild.
Thanks everybody for sticking with us while we went through Prince Caspian on this week's episode of The Lobster and His Boy. Tune in next week for our episode where we dig into the Dawn Treader.
Dawn Treader.
Excuse me, the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Will it be 1 episode? Will it be 2 episodes? Who knows?
It'll be 2 episodes.
I'm going to go ahead and get a seasick patch for this one because
This might be 2 episodes.
this might take all night. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for believing in magic.
If you have any questions or concerns or anything you like to add, or if there's somehow something we did not bring up in this episode, you can message us on Instagram at Lobster and His Boy. No capitals, no space, no special characters. Or you can also email us at lobsterandhisboy@gmail.com. And that's it. We don't have anything else. We have a TikTok, but don't send me TikToks, please.
Mm-mm.
And that's that on that.
That's that on that. Take care, everybody. We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Telmar, it's far away on the ocean, yes, it's Telmar. Far away, you know you're gonna be far away from your troubles. Just fill all your dreams with the bubbles of Telmar. Across the sea.